now. We're all back. Yay. So introduce to you Teresa Gunn. I've known her many years, go way back to when I was up at First Spiritualist. And she took a class with me where she was just totally amazing on writing and speaking on the podium, on lectures, and I tell you, it blew me away. And all of the wonderful work she does, it's just amazing. Teresa Gunn's been in the music industry since 1980. Touring and performing throughout the United States. A singer and songwriter, Teresa is also a storyteller, spoken word performance, artist, and social activist. In 1998, she merged her artistry with social action through the founding of Musicians for Education, collectively with artists of the same mind. The organization is dedicated to providing creative, educational, and emotional support to teen mothers who have been trapped in the juvenile justice system due to the generational effects of drug addiction, alcoholism, and poverty. Her devotion and commitment steer the organizational vision, forging the strategic partnerships in the San Diego community and garnering artistic talent, human expertise, financial and volunteer support to sustain the organization. Teresa is a two-time finalist for the Washington, D.C. Area Music Awards, Best Female Original Rock and Roll Singer. It is quite original. Teresa Gunn received the Channel 10 Leadership Award for her key role in the success of Street of Dreams program. She has a 100% success rate with these girls, and most of them get scholarships and go on to college. Let's welcome Teresa.
So I can be closer to you. Well, Deborah, Reverend Deborah, thank you so much. She made it sound like I know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't know that, and I still don't know. But anyway, I am Teresa Gunn. I need to tell you that I am a drug addict and an alcoholic. I need to tell you that I'm a drug addict that hasn't had an illegal drug in over 33 years. I'm an alcoholic that hasn't had a drink in over 29 years. And I attended the church that Reverend Deborah and the Reverend Rosie were reverends for in City Heights, the First Spiritualist. What's the name of that church?
First Spiritualist Church.
The first, I got it right, and the First Spiritualist Church. This is a long story with a lot of parts, so I'm going to condense it down to 15 minutes, which is the amount of time I have. My husband and I were living in Coronado. The time came that we needed to buy a house, and we could afford to buy a house in City Heights. I did not want to live in City Heights. I did not want to move to City Heights. Well, we did move to City Heights, and we did buy a little house there, and that house was unlivable, and it had graffiti all over it, but that's the house we could afford, and we bought it. And I wasn't happy. And my husband was riding a bike around the neighborhood, and he said, I found this little church. I think you'd like it. It had, they do meditation. He went up and read all the stuff they did. And so I was having a very hard time with life. And I did end up going over to that church. And I was taken, exactly like I was taken again today, by what I felt. It wasn't what I knew or what I could understand, it was by what I felt. And that was from Deborah and Rosie. And I started going there. And I was talking to Reverend Deborah soon after, and I just burst into tears. And I said, I'm just here because I need help. And I told her about Street of Dreams. I'd been doing Street of Dreams for about 6 years. I said, I'm a singer and a songwriter. And I said, a few years ago, somebody called me up and asked me to donate 12 weeks of my time to a group of homeless children because they were about 17 and 18 years old and they needed 3 credits to get their high school diploma. And if you will donate 12 weeks of your time to give them a songwriting workshop, we can give them 3 credits and count it as a fine arts program. And I said, well, I can't do that. I said, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm a professional. I do not know how to give a workshop to a bunch of homeless kids. I was mad. I get mad when I'm upset. And the next thing I know, I'm standing in front of a bunch of homeless kids, just like I'm standing in front of you right now. They were not nice. They were mean. They did not like me. And the teacher of the class walked me up to the front of the class, and she said, this is Terry. She's our new music teacher, and she went to lunch. She just left me there. I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is that I had, by that time, I had about 6 years of sobriety, which anybody who's ever been in AA knows that's very early sobriety. But I knew about the AA format. That much I did know. So I made them sit in a circle, and I kind of changed the format around in my mind, and I made them go around and say, my name is Jose, but instead of saying, I'm an alcoholic, my name is Jose. My age is 15. My challenge is being homeless, and my dream, and this is how Street of Dreams started, it was this simple. And they went around and they had no problem saying, my name is, my age is, my challenge is, my dream is. And when I went home that night and thought about what I was going to do to teach a songwriting workshop, which I'd never done in my life. I'm a self-taught musician. I never took a class in my life in anything. I don't like classes. I thought to myself, what are you, Teresa? And I thought, I'm a dreamer. I am a real dreamer. And I need time to dream, and I'm a good dreamer. And I not only believe in my dreams, I believe in your dreams. And I am good at believing in dreams, which doesn't get you real far in life. So when I got to the school the next day, I had them sit in a circle. My name is, my age is, my challenge is, my dream is. And I said, we're going to write a song today. And we're going to start by writing about our fathers. Well, it was like I'd thrown an atom bomb in the middle of that class. They hated their fathers. Most of them didn't have any fathers. They didn't have good fathers. They had no relationship with fatherhood whatsoever. And they were violent little people. And they were focusing that violence on me. And I said, this is good. This is what you need to write a good song. You need passion. You need hatred. You need love. You need a future. These are the things that make a good song. So I want you to move in close to me. Why do you hate your dad? Well, I'm going to cuss. That bitch owes me money, man. I want it now. And they told their stories one by one, just like we do in AA. And I said, so what you're telling me is that you are disappointed in adults. And that you love your father so much that his abandonment of you has turned your sense of love into defense, where you feel you can't afford to love. And what I'm saying, as I interpret your emotions, is that you love your Father so much that you can't bear to think about him. Tears. Everybody in the class, everybody's heart open, and we know what happens when our hearts open. Tears. I started, my tears came during the healing this morning with the beautiful bowls. So I said, we're going to write about our Father. So write on your paper, my name is, my age is, my challenge is, my dream is. So Jose was the first one to get up to read his paper. My name is Jose. My age is 15. My challenge is being homeless. My dream is to be an educated man. And this is my poem. My real dad. I crossed the desert 7 times. On the 7th time I made it. I was cold. I was hungry. A nice lady from St. Vincent's got me into this school and into the shelter. I want to go home. I miss my mother. My real dad left home when I was 8. I thought that he would always be there. I want to go home to Oaxaca. But when I return, I will return an educated man. And every one of their poems was like that. When I was a little boy, I thought my father was 10 feet tall. When I was a little girl, my daddy woke me up at night and told me, dance with me. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Spoken word poetry. So I took a line from everybody's paper, and there were 20 students, and I organized it into a song. And this is the first song we ever wrote at Street of Dreams. My real dad, I hate my dad. Useless, worthless, drunk ass dad. Useless, worthless, drunk ass dad. He don't do dick for me. When I was a little boy, scared of the dark and that loud noise, the only hero that I had was my own useless, drunk ass dad. He'd drive up in his car and put me on a shooting star and say, hey son, I love you so, and I'll never let you go. Back then I looked up to him, looked like he stood about 10'10", but that was then, and this is now. We ain't seen him in God knows how long. When I get to be a dad, I won't ever leave my boy. That punk owes me money, man. I want it now. My mom does the best she can by herself without a man. And even though he hurt us bad, I guess I'll always love my dad, my real dad. I hate my dad. Useless, worthless, deadbeat dad. Useless, worthless, deadbeat dad. He don't do dick for me. And that was the first song we ever wrote, Street of Dreams. On the second day of class, and I told the teacher that day, I said, I know how to do 3 things. I know how to get some press, I know how to put on a show, and I know how to get a professional venue to put on the show. And that's what I'm going to do. At the end of 12 weeks, I am going to guide these students to research, write, produce, and perform an original spoken word concert based on their experience, strength, and hope as children who have been called to bear way more than they are emotionally prepared to handle. And whoever shows up, they get their 3 credits. And whoever doesn't show up, they don't get their 3 credits. And she said, done. And I want to tell you that every single student showed up for their performance. They were thirsty to share their stories. They had never had a voice, and this gave them a voice. And we did our performance at a little coffee shop in Hillcrest. The Tribune did a big giant article called Street of Dreams, and that's how we got our name. And they all showed up, and they got up, and they did their poetry, and the audience was in tears. And at the end of the thing, the audience rushed up to the stage and hugged them and kissed them and told them how wonderful they were. And the students grew to be 10 feet tall. And I became the arts education teacher for that school for 3 years. I was an unpaid volunteer. And 3 years in, I was invited to teach a Street of Dreams class for a school for teen mothers. And I did it. And the teacher there put into words what I couldn't put into words, because I am not an educated person. I am a creative person. And that's what I am. And she said, Teresa, she said, the kids that go to these schools that you teach at, they are the result of generational drug addiction, alcoholism, mass incarceration, and poverty combined, which is almost impossible to recover from. And she said, but this class of teen mothers here, this was a school called Lindsay Community School for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. We have 100% high school graduation and 100% college entry. She said, what would you think if you became our arts education program? And she said, we can help you get funded. I said, done. I need money just like everybody else. That was almost 26 years ago. And today, Street of Dreams is a high school to college arts education college bridge program for teen mothers who are at the highest risk of drug addiction, alcoholism, incarceration, homelessness, and generational poverty. 100% of our students that go to Lindsay School graduate from high school and enroll in college. And they have a class song, which I'm going to end my talk with. The girls' class song is Statue of Liberty. And what I want to say before I sing you the girls' class song is, the education of girls is the strongest anti-poverty tool we have today, worldwide. And Street of Dreams has now joined the global movement to educate girls as the fastest way to break cycles of generational drug addiction, alcoholism, incarceration, childhood homelessness, and poverty. My class has gone from 20 students to 100 students. And I still don't know what I'm doing. And this is the Teen Mothers class song. Had a lot of trouble in my life. Mommy on drugs, daddy's not in my life. A teenage mommy, I'm on my own. Me and my baby without a home. I still believe in a better life. A pretty house for my baby and me. Educated, safe, free. Just like the Statue of Liberty. I am the Statue of Liberty. Go on, take a good look at me. My son or daughter might just grow up to be the president of this great country. This country's built on my mother's tears, every heartache of my father's years. The generations that try and fail, beat down, locked up, forgotten in jail. Bring me your wounded, your refugee. Give me your broken-hearted people like me. Give me your children, give them to me. This country's built on a street of dreams. I am the Statue of Liberty. Go on and take a good look at me. My son or daughter might just grow up to be the president of this great country. Standing all right. I forgot to tell you how my story ties in with Reverend Deborah and Reverend Rosie. During my horrible time, when I had first moved to City Heights, where I did not want to live, in that house where I didn't want to live, and my husband found the little church for me, and I started going. I was in terrible spiritual trouble. I was just starting out with Street of Dreams. I didn't know why I was doing it. I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea how to raise money. And I was deathly afraid of people that I thought were smarter than me. I don't feel like a smart person. I'm not a smart person. And I remember asking Reverend Rosie if she would pray for me. And meeting with Reverend Deborah, and I began to take her class, which I can't remember the name of now. Spiritual.
Well, was it the writing?
It was the writing. It was something about increasing our spirituality, psychic development. It was psychic development. And I would meet with her privately, and she would do healing for me, and so would Reverend Deborah, and I still have the letter. Reverend Rosie, I still have the letter Reverend Rosie wrote for me, and when I was singing to you right now, I looked over at this beautiful picture of Christ, and I don't talk like this, everybody, because this isn't, sometimes people don't like it when you talk like this, but I'm in church. We're doing God's work. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And these ladies helped me heal something in me to give me the courage to go on. And I have two friends in the audience today, Kim who's a dear friend for many, many years, who's been to many of the Street of Dreams show, and Amy, who shows the young mothers where the child care is at the shows every year, and now you, new friends. And this is how Street of Dreams was built, through family and friends, not through anything smart, just people like us. And Reverend Deborah took the time to talk to me. And she said, Teresa, what you have cannot be learned, and it cannot be taught. It can only be felt. And this is true. And I've had to write down on paper what I do, but I'll tell you, I don't know what I do. I do what I did here today. And what I do is transmit what these ladies taught me how to do. And they healed something in me that was beyond human aid. And I will be forever grateful to them. And we are friends for life. And I haven't been to the church in a long time because I've gotten very busy. But this morning I realized, I remembered during the healing what this church does for me, and I'm going to start coming back here on Sundays. Because I'm lost again. Thank you for hearing my story.